We know that the High Commission has been up and down all over the city today. And we also know that there's been some royal visits and stuff like that delaying time. So, with no further ado, welcome to Legacy Centre of Excellence. We're pleased to have here His Excellency, the High Commissioner Alexander Williams of Jamaica. So please give him a big round of applause. I know you can do better than that, Birmingham. Come on. With respect.
Thank you, sir. My apologies for getting here late. I won't throw certain people under the bus for that issue. But I would like to begin by greeting you in proper Jamaican fashion. Wagwan. All right. I hope I sounded better than Barack Obama, did I? Okay. My fellow Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica, good evening. Thank you for attending my first town hall meeting outside of London since I became the High Commissioner in October 2023. This is also my first official visit to Birmingham and the Midlands. I've had the opportunity to meet and interact with civil leaders, community leaders, and members of the UK Jamaican business community within this region. And I am impressed and encouraged by the strong bond that continues to exist between the UK-based diaspora and Jamaica. One of my goals as your new High Commissioner is to ensure that Jamaicans in the UK can participate and prosper from the economic development that is taking place on the island. This was the main theme throughout all of the discussions that I had with current and aspiring leaders this afternoon. The pandemic has been a major challenge for our country, but we have these challenges we met these challenges, I should say, with resilience and determination. Our economy has recovered strongly with a robust growth in GDP that has surpassed our expectations. Our unemployment rate has also reached a historic low. Thanks to the government's prudent and effective policies, we have earned the trust and confidence of the international community, as evidenced by Jamaica's gaining our highest credit rating ever. Pause. Highest credit rating ever from Fitch, moving from B+ to BB-. In addition, Jamaica has achieved a positive trade balance for the first time in 40 years. That deserves a round of applause. Come, people. All right. This means that the country has exported more goods and services than it has imported. And I'm talking between us and the United Kingdom, which is a promising sign for the strength and resilience of the Jamaican economy. This accomplishment is attracting more global partners and investors, indicating a positive outlook for the country's economic development. Jamaicans living abroad should also take advantage of this opportunity to contribute to the growth of our homeland. As a strategic partner, the diaspora plays a vital role in Jamaica's development. I therefore invite you to join the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference from June 16 to 19 in Montego Bay, St. James. Let me repeat, June 16 to 19 in Montego Bay, St. James, the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. At that conference, you're going to hear in more detail about the business and employment opportunities that exist in Jamaica for you. I am saying to you, this is not just for Jamaica's benefit, but it's for your personal benefit as well. It promises to be exciting, and you cannot miss it. All right? Listen closely to what we say out of the mission for particular travel packages, airline rates, what have you, coming closer to the conference itself to assist you in getting there. This conference provides an opportunity for you to interact with government leaders and share your ideas and insights to help build a stronger Jamaica. The event will feature multiple sessions and activities to encourage dialogue and cooperation. Okay, now then, I know that crime and violence are serious issues that can affect Jamaica's stability and development, and it is a concern for Jamaicans at home and in the diaspora. The government is committed to addressing these issues through legislative reforms and increased resources for national security. The result of these efforts are encouraging. According to the 2023 serious crime statistics, there was a 7.8% reduction in murders, a decline in shootings in all police divisions, and a 15.3% decrease in robberies. The criminal justice system is also becoming more efficient, and this is proving to be a deterrent. Pause here, and I'd like to tell you, when we talk about trials at the parish court level, I think that you might call that county level, there is no longer a backlog. Let that sink in. At the parish level, there is no longer a backlog of cases, particularly in our criminal courts. That has never happened in history in Jamaica. Yes, still a little bit of a backlog at the Supreme Court, Civil Court level. The Chief Justice, His Lordship Mr. Justice Brian Sykes, has committed to a turnaround period of 3 years for all civil matters. Business people who have commercial disputes can now access the commercial division of the Supreme Court. And I have experience, I'm an attorney at law, and I do litigation in the commercial division. And I can tell you, you can file your initial claim in January and get before a trial judge in December. That is what is happening now. All right. So, think about that when you decide to invest in Jamaica. So these are signs of progress that we should all acknowledge and encourage. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamaica is undergoing a historic constitutional transformation as it prepares to remove the British monarch as the head of state. Now, I pause here. No, I don't have a date, but what I can tell you is this. The Constitutional Reform Committee is now engaged in dialogue and communication across Jamaica. Various interest groups have been invited to make presentations before them, and they're going out in the highways and byways to educate the public and to find out how they feel about the changes. The first step in the process is changing from a monarchical system of government, which technically is what we have, to a republican system of government. It's a consultative process that is supposed to last a year, and then thereafter it's a bill in Parliament, and there's a minimum 6 months you'd have to wait before you debate it, and so on and so forth. So adding up all of that time, we're looking at about 2.5 to 3 years before we get to a referendum on the issue of replacing the monarch with our own president. Have more to say about that, but I won't say it just yet. So, one of its initiatives, that is of the Constitutional Reform Committee, was to form a subcommittee for public engagement, which has organized various events and activities to involve different stakeholders in the reform process. What I'd like to say to you all, this does not exclude the diaspora. You are as much entitled as any other interest group to make submissions to the Constitutional Reform Committee as to what you would like to see in the Constitution. I'm going to tickle your fancy a little bit here. Should we have the issue of dual citizenship finally settled in our Constitution. One of the things, thank you, I'm glad you're here and say yes. One of the things I say all the time, it is quintessentially Jamaican for a Jamaican to go outside of his country and go to Panama, UK, US, Europe, wherever, to find your fortune, to build your lives for your self-determination, to either return home to Jamaica or to assist your family in Jamaica. It is part of the Jamaican ethos, part of who we are as a traveling people. And I believe you guys, if you don't mind me saying so, galvanize yourselves together and make submissions before the CRC. Perhaps a member of parliament, a prime minister, don't have to be just a Jamaican citizen alone. You could have dual citizenship and may be entitled to represent the country at that level. There are ways in which that can be done, right? It may be that you might want to have diaspora affairs constitutionally recognized, or it may be that you may wish to have policy get to the point where you have what I would say permanent representation in policy formulation for diaspora issues. These are things that you might wish to consider in approaching the constitutional reform process. Jamaica is open for business. A lot of you here, I know I'm going to be fielding a lot of questions. I'm here to answer the questions. But just to say, my wife is tired to hear me quoting Shakespeare, but here I go again. She knows the quote by now. You know the quote? Brutus to Cassius in Julius Caesar. There's a tide in the affairs of men, which take not the flood leads on to fortune. I am telling you, Jamaica is at a renaissance point right now. We're at the tide of our affairs. You need to take it at the flood and lead on to fortune. Please, 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 don't let the Irish, the Lebanese, the Ukrainians, the Israelis and the Palestinians, and all of them who are coming to Jamaica in droves to invest in Jamaica, to buy up the properties, to establish the businesses and so on and so forth. And you are over here sitting down comfortably, in the nice cold weather. Please accept, seize the day, invest in Jamaica. We're open for business, a lot of wonderful opportunity there. And as I say to you, I'm here to answer all the many and varied questions that I'm about to field. Thank you very much. All right, question time. All right, gentlemen, sir. Okay, you could be a gentleman and allow the lady, but I'll allow you first, sir.
I say it's 3 years no pay for the passport.
You want to give him a mic? You have a mic for him?
Is there another one?
Another one? All right, so.
What's your question, sir?
Yes, ma'am. 3 years no pay for the passport.
Okay.
Yes. It's 3 years now I pay for the passport. Here's the receipt. And up to now. Go to London, I'm a Britain everywhere, and no satisfactory argument that I can feel Irish.
All right, so. That's it? That's it. All right, so there is an average 90-day turnaround for the granting of a passport, whether by renewal, when it is lost, or for a brand new passport. The standard is 90 days. If it goes beyond 90 days, it means that there is a particular problem. Oh?
Excuse me, sir.
So, yes, so if you say it's 3 years, obviously there must be some issue why the passport isn't granted. All right? So I can't stand here and answer the individual question as to why your particular application is taken.
Oh, hold on, sis. Hold on, sis. Hold on, sis.
All right, so what I can do is to ask you to, let's see, Mrs. Seaver there raising your hand.
I would just say, the gentleman, I'll come and take your information and I'll follow up on you and I'll give you my card so you can contact me directly and I'll contact you.
There's
And
another.
anybody else, sorry, and anyone else who has a passport ask you, just come and see me. Okay? Oh, sorry.
Hello, good evening, people. Remember, Mr. Williams has just come in post, you know. How long you been in post, sir?
October.
So he's just come in post. He's just come through the door, right?
All right, so what?
Yeah, it's not the two mics, you know. It's these.
Here's what it is.
Carry on, sir. Carry on.
All right, yes. So, all right. I'm gonna, yes, next question.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your presence. It's a strength. I've been with my brethren on his journey to sort out his passport, and it's we've spoken to many people. We went down to Island. What the place called? Island what?
Island Delight.
Island Delight. Yeah. Beer go round. All come with this piece of paper, and they're not representing your establishment to the fullness. You see, so what you would say and what happens on the floor is two different things. We've even taken it down to London. Hold on, Saif. We've even taken it down. We've drove down to London to get the thing sorted out.
Yeah.
The
So
people,
can
the-
I ask you? Can
the
I ask
people-
you? So can I? Yeah, but can I ask? No. But
We've done that many a time already. We've spoken to
we have to move from this position, you know. I have to move from this position. Has to be solved. But can I ask you though? And I'm just hearing about this. Have you been told of any particular issue with this passport?
every issue.
What is it? What? Okay, you say every issue.
Every issue
What?
we've
What?
raised, we've given them information to make them happy, and they still go around.
Mrs. Seaver here, who is in the audience, she came here for this particular reason. She will deal with each and every individual situation that is brought to her attention tonight. That is why she's here. All right? I would like to make some general observations, if you don't mind. Do you mind me making some general observations? Okay. So I'd like to tell you first of all what the general turnaround period is, which I've already mentioned. And that general turnaround period of 90 days is really the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, on whose behalf we are acting. Whatever we get, the documentation and so on, goes to them for them to grant the passport, renew and all of that. So it's a general 90-day period. They go through their own investigations and what have you. No, I don't mind telling you, there are certain specific issues that have arisen from time to time with incorrect spelling of names, running from a passport or, a birth certificate, from ages, all kind of documentary issues. All right? which has stymied the granting of passports in a number of different instances. Which is why I say that we need to focus on an individual situation and see what a particular problem is in order to resolve the problem. Now, what I will say is this. I used to do something when years ago in private practice as an attorney at law, where if I'm handling a client's matter and nothing is happening in their case for one reason or the other, I used to write a letter to the client and say, dear so-and-so, this is just to advise you that nothing is actually happening in your matter since we last spoke a month ago. But if anything develops, we'll keep you posted. It seems to me that some sort of procedure like that needs to be put in place in order to keep the communication between the mission and you in the diaspora. I've already started that kind of discussion to see if we can resolve that. We have had some manpower issues, and I suppose every embassy everywhere has manpower issues. In the pace at which calls get returned or emails get answered. We have, I should tell you, about, I think it's about 60 persons per day that come to the mission to have a matter resolved, which means between the passport and visa issues, which is about 300, when you add to that the other consular matters, you're looking at about 400 persons, each with an individual issue, seeking a response or a determination of the issue from the mission in a week. All right? So we have an issue, again, I suppose the word is backlog. But at the end of the day, it is on us to find a system that keeps the communication flowing between the mission and what is happening with your application. Now, part of the way of dealing with it is technology. That's part of the way of dealing with it, which means an upgrade in the type of software that we use so that it can be more fit for purpose. That is another discussion that I have had. Ancillary to that is how you interface with the use of that technology. Where we say to you, this is how you make this application. You don't need to come into the mission, click on this, click on that, and this is how that gets resolved. But I am told, and I was telling you what I am told, sometimes it is not followed. And that in itself creates a run on the mission, adding to the 400 people that I've just described. So I believe that one way of solving it is to better engage the use of technology, i.e. upgrading the website, so that there are a number of different issues that don't necessarily mean you having to come to mission to have it resolved. So, I've been here since. These are things I'm committed to resolving, but I have to tell you, it does not mean that in a particular situation where you're expecting to get back your passport or whatever in 90 days, and it takes longer than that, that it necessarily means that somebody is negligent. All right? It may mean that there is an undisclosed issue that needs to be resolved. And we at the mission can't be telling individual persons or disclosing individual persons' business in a public waiting area as to what the particular issue is. We have to be careful with how we manage the information that we receive. I'll give you a personal example, and I'm not going to name names. I personally intervened with a rather boisterous Jamaican, complaining that he don't get back his passport at the window downstairs at the Chancery. And after talking at length and he's making a lot of noise in the waiting area, I subsequently found out that there's an issue of a criminal record. Even if I had known that at the time in the public waiting space, should I blurt it out in public? But what I do, I take the blows in the public space, do the investigation quietly, and see to it how the matter can be resolved. So I just say that to say, I don't say that to say there is a need, and I acknowledge there's a need for increased communication between the mission and you, the diaspora, as to what is happening with your application. And part of the problem is a technology one. This is really part of the problem. Because there's just no way that we will be able to put in place the manpower to deal with that kind of flow. I even looked at how the French embassy deal with these issues, and they had to outsource it to a third party. Couldn't handle it with their regular mission staff. I don't know that we can ever go that particular route, but I happen to know that there are software and programs that are better suited to what we want to achieve. I thought that lady?
I'm not asking a question, I'm just making a comment on the passport.
All right.
That just say that if you have an expired passport, some expired passport, you can apply online and you receive your passport.
Well, I don't want...
20 days. I've done it and I've referred quite a number of people to that.
Actually,
and they get back their passport.
there is even a process with emergency. There's even...
Passport,
yeah.
20 days, I got it back.
I happen to know that there's even a way in which there's an emergency situation that you can use and get it back overnight.
Yes, I know.
Mark, you have to be in Jamaica for that. Yeah. And then you can go and get it in 20 days in certain incidents with expedition.
And expired passport.
Right.
I have proven it. I've just got mine of last year, 20 days.
Okay. Can I have that lady there? You wanted to answer a question?
I wanted to state the obvious. For me, clearly you're short of manpower, womanpower. You need to find a way to communicate that to the people on the ground out here who have no idea what's happening.
And
it may be perfectly legitimate for you, but you need to let them know.
Agreed. Agreed entirely.
Better communication, I think. And I also think digital transformation, His Excellency, pleased you with the post. My name's Natasha, and I'm a digital expert, and I think digital transformation is vital for Jamaica. We use digital tools here in the UK. I think it's also important for automation, because you can go to Jamaica and do these things. Myself and my son got our citizenship, and we had to go to Jamaica to do it. But it was a very timely process where we was waiting for hours and possibly days if I'd not been assertive. So there's also this time factor of waiting in offices continuously, taking a ticket.
Yeah.
When a lot of these things can be automated.
Yeah, yeah.
These can be, we're used to uploading passport pictures.
Indeed.
And interacting.
Can I tell you?
Digitally.
Yeah. And, when I look at the applying for a UK visa, when you're applying for you guys don't apply for a UK visa. But when I have to apply for a UK visa, it's completely online and digital until you have to go in and give your biometrics. It's a click, and the way the form is now set up on our website is, for some reason, and I don't know why, I'm just explaining, for some reason you can get to the end of the form with mistakes in the form, which shouldn't be the case. If you all know, I don't know how you know, when you make an online application for a UK visa, you cannot get to the end of the form unless everything is correct. Good. For some reason, the software that we have will allow you to get to the end of the form. So you get to the end of the form, there may be mistakes in it, you come to the mission, you go to one officer, and then the officer tells you, oh, this needs to be corrected, you need to get that document, what have you, and then there's a delay and the time, and of course a frustration to you. So what it seems to me is that, as I said before, the online application process needs to be tightened up. Right? There's an obvious need for that. So there are two takeaways. One, the communication that takes place between the mission and you who are applying for your passport, visa, etc., etc. We have to increase that communication. So, what I must tell you, currently trying to work out now is the process. As to that, there is an app, I understand, which allows you to send an SMS message to your phone, right? There's a particular app that can say that, oh yeah, you get it all the time. How many of you with HSBC and so on? And you get apps like that on your phone and so on and so forth. That is one solution that we can use, which would mean I don't necessarily have to have an officer or a consular officer on the phone calling to update people. I have been told that there have been issues surrounding the telephone numbers, and sometimes people give telephone numbers to the mission that are not entirely accurate, or it's not their telephone number, it's a telephone number for a relative, and so on and so forth. Well, all I'll have to say is that's up to whoever comes and engages the mission to ensure that the telephone number that you give us is the one that you are going to access, and you're comfortable with whoever has the phone is privy to your information. Just as I said, you hear what I said earlier? Sometimes the information that the communication that we have to make on the status of your passport may get into issues that you perhaps want other people to know about. Okay? So I suppose the persons who engage the mission will have to manage that.
Can I also ask another question? Which that wasn't a question, that was more of a statement. But the question I'd like to know is about, there's a lot of people, including myself, that have got interest in family land
Yes.
in Jamaica. And I think it's quite challenging to engage with these agencies whilst you're here in the UK, because emails don't get responded to, conflicting information is online. Places like RADA should be supporting and helping to equip us to...
RADA cannot help you with family land. I'm going to,
I'm
can I?
talking about things like agriculture, making purposeful use of your family land. There's too much barren land in Jamaica that just basically isn't going to the ancestors. My great-great-grandparents are on that land, and I really would like a simplified process so we can get the title and make use of this land that we've got historical ties to. So, you know, we need better two-way dialogue.
All right, so let me, I hope we have some strong liquor on the side, and I hope we don't have time, because we're going to get into family land now. All right, first thing, attorney at law, right? And I've been dealing with this issue in my practice for over 30 years. There is no such thing as family land. No such thing as family land. Let that sink in. Now, I'm going to tell you where I'm going with this. When your grandfather died and said to him, son, you take the piece of land by the tree, and you take the piece of land down by the river, and so on and so forth, and nobody don't know nothing about him estate, and you build up your property and all of that, but you say, it's the family land, and therefore it is yours. No such thing. Secondly, when you go and you pay taxes on the family land, the fact that you have that tax receipt, even in your name, does not mean you have title to the land and you own the land. It doesn't mean that. The government accepts tax from whoever chooses to pay for a particular tax on land. No, I don't know, and maybe I should look into this if this is a unique problem. But particularly, and I'm going to get to it, the diaspora. We do not administer estates in a timely fashion to make sure that I have the chain of title. It's really liquor water, you know. to ensure that there is a proper chain to prove who actually owned the land so that you can go out and get a registered title. So typically what happens is that years and decades pass when grandfather dead, grandmother dead, blah, blah, no will, no leave, nobody no administer, blah, blah, blah. Somebody starts to build on the land, so you have the issue of squatters' rights coming in. And then, can I say it? You have one unholy mess to clear up after decades of inaction. No lawyer, no government agency, nowhere in Jamaica and in the world is going to straighten that out in a matter of months. Not happening. Part of the reasons why Jamaica still has an issue with registered title is because the individual families have not sorted out their estates. Government can't do it for you. Sort it out. Okay? We have moved, I'm telling you, government has had some programs, and we have managed to move from a situation where more than 50%, can you imagine? More than 50% of the land in Jamaica is unregistered to a position which is just above 48%. So we're moving in the right direction. St. Elizabeth, which at one point in time, you couldn't find any registered title for any land in St. Elizabeth. Right? We're almost completely at the point where all the land in St. Elizabeth has a registered title. And this has had to happen with aggression on the government side, establishing LAMP process and land tribunals to try and push families to get them title registered. And that is how you unlock capital and potential, when you have a registered title for your family land. RADA can't help you. Ministry of Agriculture can't help you. Nobody, and boy, I tell you, even the poor lawyer is going to have to tear his ear out, look for a testing witness long dead to go prove will. The person entitled to letters of administration, them dead too. So you have to look to who has entitlement to that person's entitlement to get to the entitlement of the original owner. And of course it's going to take time. So I am saying to you, and I'm sorry I took so much time on this one question, and I still don't get my liquor yet. I am imploring you for your own benefit. Go and straighten out the issue of title to your family land. Come on, lady in the lovely hat. That's fine.
But I just want to ask you a question about the wealth of Jamaica. About the wealth of Jamaica, leaving Jamaica to go to other countries in Europe, such as Spain, Italy, a lot. Now, I was in Jamaica last year, and I was sad to see that still in the hotels, the executives that are there are not Jamaican. They are Spanish, they are Italian, they are Germans, French, but they are not Jamaican. Now, in the hospitality industry, there are some very capable Jamaicans, but the executives, in order to get a job with these huge hotel chains, for example, Ibura Star, there's a requirement that they speak Spanish. Now, Jamaica is an English-speaking country. So we can go to Spain and say to the Spaniards, we expect you to speak English in Spain before you can come and work in the hotel. We'd be expected, they'd throw us out. So why is it that other countries countries can come in and dictate quotas, dictate what happens like that. Surely it should be us saying to these countries, only a percentage of your people can come into Jamaica. The locals need priority. So I want to know what the government intends to do about that.
In every single situation where you have that kind of major investment coming to Jamaica, every single one of them, there is a requirement from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security that you first advertise for the local talent before you fill the slot. Guess what happened when we advertise for the talent locally to fill the slot? Guess what happened? Especially since COVID, where there has been some amount of flight of skilled workers out of Jamaica, across Europe. They pick up, and then not even just the tourist industry. They pick up teachers, they pick up nurses, and so on and so forth. Now, I want to tell you this. I'm glad you raised it, because now is an opportunity to you in the diaspora who has that skill, right? Jamaica, as I mentioned before, I don't know if I mentioned it here, is at record low unemployment. I did? Yeah. Record low unemployment, but there's a problem with the skilled workforce. And that's what we're targeting now. I mentioned the diaspora conference before. Tourism is one of the sectors that's going to be featured as to the opportunities that exist for Jamaicans in the diaspora to fill those skilled slots.
Okay, I hear that, sir, but just to follow up with a supplemental question in relation to what I asked. So, what stops the Jamaican government from putting a quota onto foreigners coming in? Yes, they're investing, we agree, but surely there should be some sort of positive action where we are saying in your executive branch, there need to be a percentage of Jamaicans there, or
okay,
a
so
percentage of your national.
To answer your question narrowly, nothing apart from economics stops the government from imposing a quota system as opposed to a work permit system. Remember that Jamaica is competing with other jurisdictions. And other jurisdictions have fairly similar work permit regimes. So, if we want to, I'm telling you this, other across the Caribbean, where we claim to have freedom of movement, in South America, across, what they have is a similar type of work permit system. Now, do you want to put yourself at the back of the line and put on top of that work permit system a quota system? I don't think that makes economic sense. What I think the way to solve it is not by the government imposing a quota. I think the solution is to engage the diaspora, to fill the slots, put them in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security's bank, employment bank, so that when the hotel or the wind farm or the social energy, solar energy company comes to Jamaica and they want managers and what have you and stuff, right? And they know they can't fill the slot in Jamaica, that would be in breach of the law without going through the Ministry of Labor, right? Then the ministry will say, well, here is the list of managers. Here is the list of executives, blah, 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 what have you. All right? Yes, sir.
Let her go first because
okay. Lady in the wonderful hat for the second time.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I've got a couple of questions, whether I can do them all at the same time or not. The first thing is just a point. You said poor lawyers. There's no poor lawyers in Jamaica. Right? That's my first
Not
thing.
in the economic sense.
Okay. And then the other two, I've got another, as I said, the three points that I want to speak about, and two of them that you've actually talked about in your introduction, yeah? First of all, we are going to be a republic, Jamaican. I'm a born Jamaican, so I can say we, yes? I would like to know from you, what will the difference be? Because interpretation of Republicans and the Queen or the monarchy is slightly different. For example, we had independence in 1962, and we are still really not independent because we're still under the monarchy. So what's the difference is going to be, if you'd like to explain that to me, please?
Well,
Thank
okay, so you mean between the republic and the monarchical system?
Yeah, because we're going to change. You're going to be a republic
So, okay.
instead of yes.
So the difference will be that our head or the head of state of Jamaica, King Charles III, it would be a Jamaican president. That would be the head of state. Now, as to the duties and responsibilities of that head of state will be a matter for the Jamaican people to decide. It can be that you let that Jamaican head of state be purely ceremonial, which quite frankly I think is a good idea, and I'll explain why, right? In the sense that he's a unifying force. He's a person who you look to represent the country in difficult times, and if there is political upheaval that needs an independent arbiter to resolve the constitutional crisis or what have you, you can look to that president. All right? That's how I see. So that's what the president would be.
Yeah. Is all these sort of guidelines or laws are just going to be, are they from Jamaica, or are they going to be like linked to international laws?
Well, Jamaica is a signatory to a number of international treaties. And I suspect, and this is how we are, Jamaica, we don't like to break our international treaties. So I suspect when it comes to what the Constitution will look like, it will be in line with our treaty arrangements in respect of the rule of law, human rights, protection of indigenous persons, et cetera, et cetera. So I suspect at the end of the day, we will fall in line with our international treaty requirements.
Okay. And the second point that you made was about the people or the countries that are queuing up to come to Jamaica. For obviously, what I'd like to know, is that for the benefit of these countries, or is it for the benefit of the citizens that are there?
What do you think?
Well, what I would like to think
People
is for
act
the
in their
citizens.
self-interest.
So,
and I'm here asking you, the diaspora, to act in your self-interest. I'm saying that there are opportunities right now in Jamaica for you to take advantage of.
Yes.
And I would like, quite frankly, I'm just saying, just me,
right.
I prefer you all benefit. The Jamaicans in the diaspora who are quintessentially Jamaican, because you have gone abroad to find your fortunes and so on, which is fine. That's who we are as Jamaicans. I would like, in the main, for you guys to be the ones benefiting.
But what about the people who are already there? Because from what I understand, so will the same thing happen to diaspora, is that the people, I do believe in internal and external affairs and investment. There's no question about that. That's happening all over the world. But if there is a difference which does not give the benefit to the citizens, then how does that work? For example, I understand you can say if I'm wrong.
You are.
Okay.
Okay, across the board. We do not incentives, benefits, what have you, are available to, and you have to look at the individual type of application, but there is no, thank you, general exclusion of Jamaican nationals from the types of investment incentives and so on that are available. They're available to all. Generally so.
So you are saying that the people who invest in Jamaica and they're there, for example, Chinese and those, that they are treated the same as the local people? Because from my knowledge,
Yes, yes.
no,
Yes.
no, not at all. And I'm glad other people are saying that.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second here. Hold a second. Hold a second. Let me ask you something. What is the matter of Jamaica?
No, it's.
I'm asking this
We
question.
know the matter, we know
Why
what
you shake your head? What's the matter
we know what the
of
matter
Jamaica?
is. Out of many
Out
one
of
people.
many
Out of many
one
one
people.
people. Yes.
You know what I love about Jamaica?
Yes. I know that matter. But I'm saying
Jamaica is a country
yeah.
for who chooses to truly be Jamaican.
Yes. Okay.
All right?
And we know initially
So
they
I
were
hope you're
Chinese.
not saying, no,
No.
I'm not going down this route with you.
No, it's not a route. I'm asking you questions, and you're here. You said you were here to answer the questions, so I'm not actually here either to make an argument, but I do expect you to answer me. I'm
Okay.
being polite to you, and
All
I'm
right.
expecting you to be polite as well to me. So I just ask you a question, and you just need to answer. I'm saying that the people who are coming to invest, example like the Chinese, are they treated the same way as the people who are living there trying to run a business? And a lot of people in here are saying no. And I know this lady comes from Jamaica and she lives there right now. So many people couldn't have got it wrong. So you need to just explain to me.
Any person who comes from anywhere in the globe, whether you're Chinese, Indian, and you choose to be Jamaican, in other words, you get a Jamaican citizenship, irrespective of where you come from, will be treated equally under the law in Jamaica in respect of incentives, benefits, and so on.
So like
Because our motto is, out of many one people, it is, and do I need to say it?
yeah,
It is not
out of many
race
is one-
specific
out of many is one
to
people.
persons of African heritage.
Well, we know that because of slavery, there's the melting pot. So we've got all those people that are Jamaicans. I'm talking about the people who actually goes there. And one of the examples that I am going to give, and other people will have known it, I think if you're thinking of your citizens, then regardless of the investment from external, when those people come there, they should not be able to treat the citizens as second-class citizens and that stand up. Right?
So
you cannot have a person come in to say they don't want any Jamaicans, any black, or any, they just want Caucasians or Asian. And this is Jamaica that we're talking about.
So
these...
I gather from your question, are you saying that in Jamaica now,
yes, it is
people
discrimination
who look
against
like
the citizen.
people like me and you are discriminated against?
Well, might be not look like.
Is that what you're saying here?
Yes. Exactly, and might be not you because of your position. Because of your position, you can't have a big sign and a hotel to say no blacks, no Jamaican, no only Caucasian and white people.
So you know of a situation in... no, I'm not asking now. I am asking now. Do you know of a...
Exactly, subtly done.
So do you know...
Yeah. The people are saying to you that it's subtly done because I've got the mic. I just need to finish, please, if you don't mind. I know, but it won't be long, my third bit, because no good me getting up again. Those were the points that you touched on, and that's why I picked up on those to see what will happen or what's going to happen that's happening now. And my third one is about the visa system from Jamaica. We are one of the only islands that if you come into the UK has got to go through hoops. I've got friends who are Trinidadians and from other islands. Family can just book to come here as a holiday. And I can speak this from experience. I've got a nephew and he worked in Canada and the farm for years. His passport was stamped 13 times. He's never been in any trouble. He managed to come here in 2008 and everything was changed. And each time you've got to pay this enormous money. He just could not get in. His dad was ill and he couldn't even get in. So there is definitely something wrong with the visa systems. We were all colonized people, and we're all people from the Commonwealth. So if people from Trinidad and those have no problem, then it seems quite a disgrace that Jamaicans have got such problem.
Okay, so let me say, it is true that different countries across the world have different visa regimes, and the different countries allow some nationals to come in without a visa and some with a visa and so on. All right? And it is true that and I know this, coming to the United Kingdom may well pose a special problem for a lot of people in Jamaica in getting a visa. That is true. So across the world, different countries, different visa regimes. Did you know that to go to Africa, you don't need a visa with a Jamaican passport? Yeah. So when I say Africa, I mean some countries in West Africa. I should let me be specific on that. But, you know, I would like to get back to the first point that you made, you know? And I'm getting from you that you either have evidence or a feeling that hotels or somebody are putting up signs explicitly, or maybe it's something subtle to exclude black people. To exclude black people? Well, what I can tell you, even if it's subtle, if that was happening in Jamaica, there'd be a riot. Knowing who we are. Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm next. I don't need
Oh, you're next?
Yes, I'm next to speak. I don't need to mic. I have a very big mouth. Yes, everybody will hear me. My name is Tony Kelly. Okay? I'm well known in the community. I was born here but grew up in Jamaica. So I came back here in 1979, went to Michael Teachers College, but over here when I came back, I became a senior probation officer and worked in the criminal justice system for a number of years. Now retired and now the diabetes stuff. My issue, which doesn't come up at these events, is there are a lot of Jamaicans who are here. It don't matter talk about the Windrush, but others who have come here overstayed their stay and are not able to then get into the system or so on, and they end up in the mental system or the prison system or unemployed and so on. They can't even get any treatment in hospitals. I write a CaribDirect.com article every 2 weeks. There are people in the community who are going around saying they're community leaders and taking money off these poor people to then try to, and they're not getting anywhere with them. I'd like to see the Jamaica High Commission. I have a number of numbers here of places where they can go and get free legal advice. Emails, phone numbers, actual addresses, they're out there in the community. Lots of Jamaicans. I have two of my relatives who are in that position. Sure. I don't know if this is being recorded, but every so often, the British government, believe it or not, has an amnesty. If you've been here, like, say, 15, 16, 17 years, and you go and see a solicitor. Not the fly-by-white ones, because some of them set up here, and by next week they're gone, and gone with your money. But I'd like the Jamaica High Commission to really take this on board and say, listen, these are genuine, legitimate people.
I would be very pleased to do so. I would be very pleased to do so. All right? Because one of the things I have, to be frank with you, it's one of the, I don't know, maybe you and I are thinking like I asked that question early in coming here, and I'm just telling you what I was told, that when we tried to create that database, there were people reluctant to come and give us the telephone numbers and so on, and so they just wouldn't do it. Okay? So I would love to engage those Jamaicans that are here in the United Kingdom who came here illegally, don't have their papers straightened out, and what I would love to do is to set up a facility. I can't do the legal work myself, obviously, but I can put them in touch with those in that space, the attorneys in that space, who can assist them in regularizing themselves. So I'm very pleased to hear that. Was there a lady that side who had a question?
When you first came, Lebanese and Ukrainians and Palestinians are going to Jamaica. Are they buying land? Are they getting citizenship?
Well, truth is, and again, you know, you don't even have to be a citizen to buy land in Jamaica. You don't even have to be a citizen. But what I can tell you is that for the past 3 to 4 years, and I think that is prior to, and I mentioned those countries prior to the turmoil, let's put it that way, involving those countries. Jamaica has been going through a real estate boom where foreign nationals have been buying up land in Jamaica. All right? I wouldn't say in the main, but a significant percentage of foreign nationals coming in, seeing the opportunity, buying up land. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, High Commissioner Knight. Welcome to Birmingham. Okay, I'm going to try and, I don't know if I can put it in a question, but there's so many points that you've raised that I certainly have an issue with. When the Prime Minister came here in 2018, I was fortunate enough to ask him a question when he came to London as this Windrush scandal broke. Now, I know you're new in post and there's lots for you to do, but I certainly am a bit tweaked by some of the answers to some of the questions that you're giving. I'm certainly not of the mindset, and I'm sorry if this offends you, that we're out of many one people.
You're not of that mindset?
No, not directly, because I think that it doesn't all, as we move, we also have to think about how it benefits all of us. And I don't, just like you're saying, people don't have to be citizens of Jamaica to buy land in Jamaica.
Yeah, but you know, that's a separate point.
Yeah,
with not being a citizen to buy land.
Yeah, but what I'm saying...
I'm sorry to cut you.
Okay.
All right? And you know, this is an important thing. It's an important part. The point I was making out of we being out of many, that Jamaicans are out of many one people, is that we in Jamaica, we're not into the race exclusion thing. We're not into that.
Can I...
I'm just, you went around me now? Can I just say something? Because there's two different things you're raising and I want to separate them. Right? Jamaica, like any other place in the world, just about, apart from some small Caribbean territories where you have to foreign nationals to be able to buy land in Jamaica. Like I could come here now as a Jamaican and buy land in the United Kingdom. Right? Go to France, do it, Italy, blah, blah, what have you. So I don't know that the fact that Jamaica allows that means that you are excluding Jamaicans from benefiting from the purchase of land. And I don't know that, and I don't know if this is, I'm just asking you, maybe I should just ask you, are you saying that we should limit the purchase of land in Jamaica to Jamaicans alone? Is that what we're saying?
When I spoke to the Prime Minister when he was here in 2018, my point to him was that when people are wanting to invest, foreign nationals in Jamaica, that it would seem only right, because as you can imagine, if you're like, you're saying poor lawyers, as my sister said, there's no poor lawyers, but when the poor farmer wants to develop or hand his land over to family, maybe they don't have that economics. People coming into Jamaica are coming with a lot of economics. My point to him is that could they not marry up with a national and teach them and allow them to learn as well as grow in Jamaica? That's what you call an investment. When somebody comes and buy up all around you, That for me is not an investment. You may say that it's only, you heard the sister say, subtly that they're not allowing certain, Jamaicans, we can't go to beach, we can't go to certain, that kind of subtle. By the time it gets to government level for them to solve it, the people on the ground are already battered. And so I'm saying to you, it's not for you to solve, but I want to say to you that I really feel that you need to hear some of what the people say, because these are lived experiences. And so therefore it is equally important that you, if you're asking diaspora people here to invest in Jamaica, and they want to invest, but they feel even from here that their little pound is pushed out. When you're going to tell us that Ukraine, I even heard there was one point in Jamaica where Germans are trying to set up as their own kind of area, that these kind of things must not be able to happen. Because you have heard here in government, you're saying Jamaica doesn't have a race line. Well, England has a race line. Here they're calling Diane Abbott black, while Rishi Sunak is calling himself British Asian. She's not British because she's British by colony, but I'm British Caribbean. Like my brother there, I was born here, but I grew up in Jamaica. And they class themselves as Jamaican. I am British Jamaican, but when they look at me, they want to call me black. So Jamaica may want to stand over here and say, we don't have a race line, but the world to the rest of us have a race line. You cannot just take people's money and just think that it's all right. It's not just about the money. We here are passionate about being Jamaican, yeah?
Okay, so I love. So I began by saying that I regard everybody in this room as Jamaican. I began there, those in the diaspora. And I'm saying, when I started, that I personally would much rather see the Jamaican diaspora benefit from the economic opportunities in Jamaica rather than those who are not Jamaican and not part of the diaspora. And I began there. That's what I would love to see, and that is part of my outreach here. So, if I understand you correctly, you're saying that we should consider some policy where if somebody other than Jamaican wants to invest in Jamaica, they should do it with a Jamaican. That is what you're saying.
I would actually think that would be fair, because when you think about, let's look at the Jamaican dollar for a start. With dollar no worth nothing. When I go home, I want to only shop in Jamaican dollar. They're talking to me about American dollar. And so I'm saying to you, those that are buying into Jamaica that are not nationals, and I think probably I would like to see us draw up the bridge now and say that you have to be like you have to be there to be able to just buy, because otherwise their money that's worth more in Europe, them that colonized us from before, they're now using their wealth of their colonized money to buy up our Jamaican land. And that is just a fact.
Well, I can tell you no. I can tell you no. Right? I hear that this is the type of policy that you'd like to see. It is not the policy now. Not the policy. But I suppose that can be, you know what? Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something? This is just the kind of thing that you should engage the government on in the constitutional reform process.
We just want to hear
one of those issues
I'm not saying
that you
right.
can
I
push
just
forward.
want to hear something back. That's
One of those issues you can put forward.
Yeah, just, I mean, as I said, the money is worth more. Their money is worth more. So of course they can buy up Jamaica in, how much, 500 million people think, oh, Jamaican's rich.
As an aside though, can I tell you, I don't know if you heard the Finance Minister's budget presentation just recently. Jamaica has floated a Jamaican dollar bond. I think it's for the first time a Jamaican, you couldn't float them kind of bond unless you're one of those prime currencies before, US, UK, whatever you. So the international community is now buying into a Jamaican dollar bond. And I'm just mentioning that. And guess what? I'm just saying, open to all.
Good evening, High Commissioner. We sit down here peacefully, quietly, and listen to everything. I know you just joined the reins, and you have a lot to learn. No matter how much years you learn in the ground, I go on with it. You talk about investment in Jamaica. Let me tell you from experience and for fact. When we go to the vets and we buy the land, they might kill we for the land. You understand me? And when we're there out there, so, and call we foreigner, which is not a name brand, it is a brand to them. Whether you like it or not, that's the truth and facts. Now, my argument is, what is the government going to do to change that? You understand me? And then worse, the other problem I have is what they're going to do to give the youth them something to do, so when they kill with one another. That we want.
All right, let me say this. If I understand what you're saying, you have experienced crime as a result of attempting to invest in Jamaica against you personally?
We can tell you that for a fact.
They try to take away your land?
Me personally.
Yeah, I got that.
My family go through that.
All right, so I'm sorry, first of all, to hear that your family went through that particular experience. Very sorry to hear it. No, well,
I'm showing you
I don't know.
so you know what I want.
No, let me begin by saying that the issue of crime is one that Jamaica is still grappling with. Right? I can give you the statistics, and maybe I did that earlier tonight. If I didn't, sorry. But major crimes in all the different categories have actually trended down in the last 3 years. Not to where we want it, but going in the right direction. Now, two big problems that we have in Jamaica, the gangs and the guns. The government has put in place anti-gang legislation to break up the gangs. And they've also taken a number of steps to deal with the guns. In relation to the gangs, two major gangs I can name off the top, the One Order and the Klansman, have been broken up. And what is happening now, and this is the word I use, you see some kind of spectacular type of crimes taking place in Jamaica that you didn't see before. I don't know if you've been following what has been happening, where you see where they're robbing armored car in daylight and pull ATM machine out of so on and so forth.
That's at a pass, man. I'm gone past that.
Well, no, I'm just making a point to you. And the point I want to make is what you've been seeing in that kind of activity is a consequence of the gangs being broken up. In other words, they're regular what them used to do, them can't do it anymore, pressure is being put on them, etc., etc. That is what is happening. So right now when you look at things, you may go with the impression that things is actually getting worse. Numbers say something different overall, but I like to link it to or look at it as the darkness before the dawn. Now, I'm saying to you, we're not where we want to be. It is a big monster that we're trying to deal with, right? Crime still is particularly localized in this type of major crime is localized in particular communities, which is why the states of emergency that have been used have actually been helpful. So there's a reason why the international rating agencies have given us their highest possible investment grade rating in spite of the crime situation. In spite of it. Maybe we can talk one-on-one and we can discuss your particular issues to what happened with you and your family. But what I can tell you overall, when you look at the numbers, even for the crimes on diaspora people returning to Jamaica, amongst those figures that I gave to you, they actually have been trending down.
I hear what he's saying, but he still didn't answer the second question.
Which is what?
To do with the youth then.
What to do with the youth? Okay, so we have a cohort of youth between the ages of 15 and 21 that are, the word that is used is unattached. In other words, they're not working and they're not in school. And that has been the feeder for the gangs that have existed and continue to exist. Now, there are some programs that have come on stream to deal with the unattached youth, run by the Ministry of Education and the Jamaica Defense Force to deal with unhard unattached youth. That is to say, train them or get them into an institution. Early days yet.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, early days yet, and we're looking to see how that works out. And if you don't mind me, if I can just, okay, yeah, let me answer the question first, and then I was about to segue into education, but you go ahead, ask the question.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Yeah, one of the issues that seemed to come up, I live in Jamaica, I'm a businessman in Jamaica. One of the problem that seems to come up is people coming to Jamaica to buy land. I don't see that should be a problem, because I have got 12 brothers and sisters. Everyone leave to America. And everyone in here got family who live abroad. The lands are their heritage. In the countryside, thousands of acres. I know that. No one's farming it. I've got 10 kids in America, but I've got 15 in England. That's all it says. The land, the houses, they're rotten. Now, if someone coming to buy it and to develop, it's like in Spanish Town. Example. The buildings are there rotting. A Chinaman come and buy it, develop and provide jobs. People are cursing and cursing. If everyone is leaving Jamaica, you're not investing, not going back. The lands are there. What are you going to do with it? You got 6 brothers living in England, and one of them got 38 acres of land in Jamaica sitting down. We're not going back. We don't want it.
Well, here's the thing. Can I make a couple?
People are going back, and people are coming to buy it or invest. Jamaica shouldn't be a mongoose country. I'm telling you that.
All right. Can I raise some?
And I know that's a problem.
Hi, Commissioner. If I may, everyone, I'm Vivian Stevo, Community Relations Officer. And I know we started late, and I know there's a lot of questions, but I'm going to ask that we take two final questions, and please make them be questions, and single questions each, because we want to get through. And for those of you with the passport issues, I'm here, so you can come and see me, and we can deal with that. No. So there are other people who had their hands up first. So I'm going to take 2 final questions, High Commissioner. And we'll have Mr. Errol Drummond will do the vote of thanks. I'm really sorry, I know there is...
Mr. Stevens, I saw a lot of hands, so you will have to decide which two.
Yeah, he was here for, he had been up for, his hand has been up several times. I noticed it. Let me go with you first, and then I'll do an eeny, miny, moe in my head.
Greetings, everyone. First thing I said, who is Jamaican?
Me.
Yes, we was brought here that Jamaica is not a homeland in reality. And if you have a history for who don't know, the Chinaman was there before I came here. We didn't want to know this in history. No. If you go back to the history, no, I'm telling you. Please let me finish. That is disrespectful.
It's very disrespectful because I'm a historian. I can tell you the Chinaman was there before I came there as a slave.
All right,
but I'm getting to my point. Because one's been complaining about the Chinaman. The Americans been there, the Englishman been there not doing anything. There didn't be no school, there didn't be no roads. They've been there before slavery, and the Chinaman is doing it. So stop complaining about the Chinaman. That's my point on that. Because they have been there, the Americans been there before. The Chinaman has been enslaved in Jamaica, just like I have been enslaved. They came here before and then they came back to because they were checking history. But the question I asked is, the Jamaican football team, since really remember, I'm a footballer from Kingston College. I played for Jamaica as well. My question, what has happened to the Jamaica Football Federation? Since Renee Simone is gone, we haven't been to the World Cup since. And the next question is pertaining to the elder returning residency. When they return, we need some security for them. You know, we need somewhere in government where they can go and have some sort of protection, because some people work hard here, and when they go back there, they don't get no security. So let me have my two questions. One which I work on this year.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you know Hal Grimson is the new coach for the Reggae Boys. I'm in Iceland. Can you imagine? But in all fairness, that's a different thing. If you look at all the major coaches, they come from all over the world for every nation. So, right? I don't know. Let us hope that this team, you know, will do better than the previous teams with Mario Gray and the team, and of course Leon Bailey, who's in top form right now. I'm kind of sorry because I'm a Tottenham supporter, but anyhow. So yeah, let us hope for the better, right? The second. Yes, as usual, the ladies are doing better than the men. Regarding the second question, I don't know that there's any specific program in the Jamaican government to deal with the elderly returning residents, returning diaspora in Jamaica. There's no specific program for them. And truth is, to be frank with you, any elderly person who is in need of, especially feels the need for additional security, I say you're better off contracting it privately than to rely on government. That is what would be my humble advice. All right, last question. Mrs. Seaver, who is the last?
All right.
Sorry?
I'm going to go back to the... We talk about investment, right? I travel a lot around the world, and in comparison to other countries, what I've seen, when people want to go back to invest in their country, where the government have a policy and help and support where they give to the people who have their money, want to come back and invest. For example, bullet point one, if I would like to invest in a product in Jamaica, but I have my money to invest, but I would like the country to meet me quarter of the way by providing me a building or a land space, and I can make my own building, and I can provide jobs and all of that for the local economy. That's one, bullet point one. Second, if I would like to do agriculture and I have my money to invest, can the government have a policy where they give you a piece of land that is not in use, and we can use that as their incentives given to us to come back?
Would you like to change the word give to sellers? Would you like to change that?
If I'm investing a couple millions and I'm bringing, employment there, and development there, then I think it's right enough for the government to meet us some part of the way with some incentive or some bursary to help us to come back and motivate us to invest.
Sir, I am sorry you asked that question at this point in the proceedings, because I could take another hour and tell you about all the incentives that are in place right now. And I can tell you, I would have jumped rope Jamaican Promotions Limited, and doing exactly what you're asking, putting entrepreneurs in touch with land possibilities, with buildings, helping you to your business plan, and whether it's all of that.
Do they give that as a support to help you to invest the money that you have?
Yes, yes, do it all the time, right? Even I have been, even in the short space of time I've been here, I've helped to facilitate just that.
I didn't know that.
All the time, all sorts of incentives. Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for a very lively evening. I'd like to end by saying, please accept that we at the mission, right, and certainly when I'm around, we are going to do our utmost to see to it that your applications are dealt with in a timely fashion, that there is increased communication as to what is happening with your application, and also to see to it that we put in place the appropriate technologies to facilitate the application process across the different application types. All right? And Mr. Kelly, you have no idea how I appreciate what you raised, because I don't mind telling you, I've already asked the Home Office to identify the prisons here in the United Kingdom where there is a Jamaican population for me to visit. And right now I actually have a map on my desk, and I'm going through circling the different prisons that I'm going to visit to deal with those, amongst those persons who have issues with their illegal status here. I'm particularly keen in facilitating, where I can, them regularizing their status. And I'm separating Windrush issues from those issues. Two complete separate things. Thank you very much.
To give His Excellency Alexander Williams a massive round of applause. We can tell by the range of questions tonight that we need to have more of these type of meetings. I know it's a bit late, but could just give us, I promise I will wrap up ASAP, yeah? We need to thank our High Commissioner and his wife Carol, and I can't see your daughter Rebecca, but I know she's here somewhere. Oh yes, she is. Yeah, for coming up today to Birmingham. And as you can see, sir, we need to have more of this. Birmingham is not a backwater. We are not your poor cousins. Birmingham is an important city for the Jamaican diaspora. And we need to have more of these town hall meetings. I know the questions tonight was pretty robust and wide-ranging. Yeah, and the greatest thing about it, he has been on his feet all day. I think this is your fourth meeting for today. Fourth meeting for today. And you have to go back to London tonight. And we are pretty grateful that you came tonight to have this, and to spend the day with us. Now, as you can see, Birmingham is a very hospitable place. And the diaspora, the Jamaican diaspora in Birmingham, are very hospitable people. We know how to entertain our guests.
Even in this room, even in this room tonight, even in this room, I have felt the love and the warmth coming from my fellow Jamaicans. And I say something to you. And I'll say to you, it's only family can talk rough to them one another and remain family.
And remain family and friends, yeah?
Alright?
Yeah.
So we're family.
But what I would like to say as well is that there's an enduring theme today, and that is Jamaica is open for investment. Now, one of the things that we need to do is to have another meeting and probably have my friend Lawrence Lawrence Jones here, the head of JamPro, to tell you all of the investment opportunities in Jamaica. Jamaica is open for investment, and it is up to us. We cannot blame other people who find Jamaica attractive. We have to take that initiative and go to Jamaica and do it ourselves. It's no good.
Yeah, we're on track for 2030. Yeah, and I will tell you something. I will not go any further, but I would just like to thank you all for coming tonight. And I wish the High Commissioner and his delegation, and it would be remiss of me not to thank somebody special, and that is Vivian Seaver. I would like to give a big round of applause to Vivian Seaver. I've had many telephone calls, many texts, many emails from her, keeping me in touch with what is happening, and we appreciate that. So thank you all, and thank you all for coming tonight, and have a safe journey home. Thank you.